What if you could go back in time and recognize a key moment that would cause one of the biggest shifts and transformations in your life? What if that key moment was recorded? Well, this recently happened to me. On my last episode, I was recording on the inversion theory that I was using from Charlie Munger to think about fitness concepts. I remembered a conversation that I had with a client and friend, Kenton Worthington. We had an idea to document the differences in transformation of one person using health to improve themselves and the other person using wealth to improve themselves. The concept took place because Kenton is an entrepreneur and an investor, and he has done very well for himself. And I had been teaching him fitness concepts, and he was making a relation to the concepts that he teaches in finance and investment strategy. And our thought was that we would exchange these ideas because I very much wanted to transform my financial health. We just thought we would record it because we thought it would be interesting. So we invited my friend Vince Rockwell, who actually filmed this segment. I had not ever actually listened to it. Vince sent me the unedited version of it and I got distracted and then life took off. The interesting thing about that is that we both, Kenton and I, although we had plans to continue to record things, he had circumstances that changed his life drastically. I had circumstances that changed my life drastically. And you can actually hear us pinpoint those things that were on the horizon in this actual episode. I'm deciding to release this because I think it's profoundly important to be able to see yourself. There's also some reference to this very notion of being able to fast forward or look back in time, where I reference the idea of I look back 5 years from now and I think X, Y, and Z. This was a major turning point. I had convinced myself that I needed to change and that I wasn't quite where I wanted to be. Something just seemed off. And Kenton likewise had this same concept with his life. Not too long ago, Kenton's mother passed, and this is the beginning discussion of that passing. I took most of that out, but it was because my mother showed up in the middle of this session, and Kenton and her are good friends, and they started discussing kind of in detail the hardship that they were both going through in caring for an elderly person that was going to inevitably pass. And I felt like some of it is just too close to what just happened, but also there is something else that I did leave in there. Now, this is only a few months before my daughter, London, died surprisingly and unexpectedly. And I mentioned in that when talking about the concept of death, and I left it in there, what I was talking about was very specific to what Kenton was going through. But what I said is actually incorrect. And I left it in there because it's a stark reminder that we have to be very careful with the things that we think that we know. And I want to point out that it's a very dark moment, and I left it as kind of a punctuated place in this conversation where I describe the differences in how somebody dies, not knowing that only a couple months later I would get the hardest lesson in just how wrong I was. At this point, I was working very, very hard on a business that would eventually implode. And not surprisingly, Kenton, in the way that he describes things in candid moments, picks up on the fact that this is going to happen. Now, I don't think that he knew, but he understood the circumstances for which partnerships and businesses thrive, and he was able to detect that something wasn't right. And in kind of a passing moment, he mentions this concept, this idea of trust and partnership, and why you should sign contracts and what they actually have to do with. This conversation blew my mind. I watched this conversation over and over again. I had just finished the last pass of it, and I recognized something so incredibly difficult to watch, but also not surprisingly beautiful. Conversation concludes with Kenton and I eating after the session and jokingly, and at the end of it, London makes an appearance and hands me kind of a thing of guacamole. And I just thought, this whole conversation is so unreal. It's like looking at another lifetime. This conversation brings up the importance of good guidance and good coaching and camaraderie. And I think more than anything, it shows the perspective from somebody who might not know what process we use to change people, the intimacy that comes from these exchanges. For the past week and a half, I've just been thinking about it nonstop. That we fly through life and we have these relationships and experiences. The lessons are threaded so deeply into them. And if I could mention one thing that I deeply, deeply regret, it's that we didn't continue this series. The plan was to do incrementally, watching us both shift and change. And because life got so out of control and so drawn in different directions with not just the death of our daughter, but Kenton now lives in Europe most of the time, and he's married and has a child of his own. We have totally different businesses. We no longer have a daughter. And to recognize that you don't know. You have no idea what's going to come, and yet you're so certain that this is what you're after and this is what you're trying to change about yourself. When you ask for change, a lot of the times you don't know what you're asking for. You're asking for a result, but really you should be asking for a process. And if you're not asking for the process, you don't want the result. One of the first questions that we talk about when people say that they radically want to improve their health is, what are their living situations now? Like, what is their environment like? What is their spouse like? What are their friends like? Because without taking that into consideration, you're never going to make these drastic changes that will end up putting you in a place that feels better. The reason that is because when you start to change, you start to be a mirror for how the people around you are not changing. People that haven't made the distinct decision and intention to change themselves do not like the feeling of things changing around them. So they tend to sabotage. And this is a very real effect. One of the very first successes that Aaron and I had in radically overhauling our business caused probably one of the biggest disruptions to our relationships that has ever occurred. And we were warned about it. In fact, a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine and client, when we told him about this great success that we were about to have, his first warning was, that's great, now you'll figure out who your real friends are. And I was kind of taken back by that, honestly. I felt like, man, I thought you'd be stoked for us. He was very excited, but he also understands that when people become more successful, they signal to the people who are unwilling to do what it takes to be successful, and this causes resentment, self-destructive behavior that comes from seeing somebody get what you don't yet have. This is something that nobody really talks about, what it actually costs. The costs of wealth and health are extreme. And this video captures a moment for myself and for my friend Kenton that I think I'm just willing to share it in its kind of most raw version, and you can make of it what you will. So on that note, we just filmed Uncut, and I could chop it up and make it a little bit easier to digest, but I don't want to. I think the lessons in it are too important, in the subtlety, in the wisdom that Kenton was sharing with me, and the lessons that I had not yet even recognized that I was about to learn. I think they're too important. There's still stuff going on today that I'm still dealing with, kind of from the fallout of this concept that was rising up. And that concept was, I wanted to change myself. I didn't like where I was. I appreciated what had gotten me there, but I had recognized that I had a lot of shifts to make. And it's been 5 years since then, and these are some of the hardest years I have ever faced. Loss of a loved one, loss of friendships, loss of businesses, dissolving partnerships, and some of that, most of it, you can't control. But I think you should take the time to appreciate what you have. And this video allows me to do that. So I hope you enjoy. Without further ado, why do you want to change yourself? Welcome to the Unfvckd podcast. My name is Michael Blevins. I've been training some of the world's most elite performers for over 15 years. From iconic actors and athletes to soldiers and CEOs. I'm an entrepreneur, an athlete, and an obsessive when it comes to human behavior.
Man looks in the abyss. There's nothing staring back at him. At that moment, man finds his character. And that is what keeps him out of the abyss.
I think I understand.
Said, you didn't pay yourself. Well, yeah, of course I did. The guy called me up, and actually the guy was paying like these insane returns on bets.
Sure.
But it was a Ponzi scheme. Because the runners, so he would send the money to Wendover, and actually the first 3 weeks, he said, I found out later through the FBI investigation, that within 3 weeks, he had maxed out like 100 betting accounts. And like, bad people were looking for this guy to kill him, and so he's like, I can't keep running this because I've gotten $1 million from all these people. So now he started faking trading or investor gambling accounts, showing these crazy returns, and basically getting all of these. I mean, there's like there's some movie stars involved. There's like all, and here's the thing: I think this is good for our discussion. I asked him, I was like, why would all these people that are quite intelligent, have a lot of money, why do you think that they would do this? He's like, it's simple, dude, they're fucking greedy.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Excuse my language, but they're greedy.
Yeah.
He was like, we're showing them 300% return on their money, like on a single bet. And so they're just greedy. And so the way he did it, he turned it into a pyramid scheme. People would wire in $400,000 or $500,000. And then they take that money and pay him that put his money in 2 weeks ago.
This is like my
Say, look, your bet came. You
Oh
won.
my God.
My big thing with, like,
$7 million.
trying to understand, like, okay, so like I want to make more money, I want to give more money, I want to invest more, I just want more. Not so I can, like, you know, have strippers with pasties hanging out and doing blow or whatever, but really because they're like, man, I don't have a 401k, I don't have a retirement fund, I didn't go to school, nobody told me how to balance a checkbook, nobody told me how to pay taxes. This is all.
Did you cut up a frog though?
I think I got out of it. I think I like less. So
That was my day out, dude. I cut the frog open. There's all these like flies in there. I was like, how's this gonna help my life?
I mean, but I went to home ec. I learned how to make an apron at home ec, but I don't know how to pay taxes. Like that came later when I was like, what do I do? Because I, you know, made some money, and then I was like, how much do I have to give to the fucking government? Like this is okay. But I was doing the right thing. Like, okay, I know it's, you know, I'm not gonna do something illegal.
Yeah.
But it really seems like I work really hard and give away half my money, and it's really hard to like get ahead. So not in a greedy way, but I think in the same way I go, well, I want more money for security. I want more money to do these things, and I think I want to do it legally as best I can because it's not worth the risk. Like, I don't want to go to jail, right?
Like, what's the price of those 2 years? Out of prison and like murdering everybody. He just doesn't work.
No.
He's supposed to be this evil person.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
like,
like
he's like, I'm tired of being.
I mean, the fat.
He was in the
funny guy.
same place that you were with. You're like, I'm tired of doing movies where I am. I'm tired of doing what I'm doing. And Kevin James like, I'm tired of being that guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and be the other guy.
So, like on
work.
that aspect, but I've never been a money guy. In fact, I think I've largely been successful because I've said I'm not worrying about money. I've been like, I'm gonna focus on, I've really invested in my health and like, you know, physical body, nutrition, stuff like that has always been important. I've never even questioned about what food costs. Right? I've just spent that money. I know, like,
You valued it.
and I kind of knew on the, like, in the long term, this is actually going to pay dividends for me. If I don't have health insurance, right? I'm self-employed. Like, we own our own businesses, and like, sorry
with that too.
that's like $2,000 a month for insurance for us, and we're like, oh, cool. Instead, I'll have a house and a car, and I'll be able to feed myself. I'll do that instead. So I've made these negotiations, but admittedly, they're not the best negotiations. At least I'm not like looking at jail time, like what some of these people might do to increase their wealth. But I think my question about like, okay, now I'm healthy, I've taken care of myself, I've made, you know, a good living, but it's moderate. It's not like wild or out of control. I'm not having to handle millions of dollars or anything. But now I want to fix the other part because I think it's important. Like, not that I think money is important, but I think like knowing how to use it and knowing what to do so that you have some security is important. And I don't I don't know where to start. That's my deal.
Great, because I feel the same way about fitness. And interestingly, think about it. Here we are, for a living. You coach people, right? And as a society, we have no issue for most of us to hire somebody, especially with social media. You can buy all kinds of programs online. Like, everybody talks about this, at least from my perception, about hiring a fitness coach, tell you what to eat, when to do it, how to work out.
Right.
But why didn't you do that on the financial end?
Because I noticed that like our business, we're not mainstream. We don't advertise, we don't follow the rules that other people use for fitness. And what I noticed about, and this is like, if you eat according to dietary, like the RDA, like the Registered Dietary Association, right? You eat like what we call the standard American diet, the SAD diet is really what it is. You're not healthy. Like, nobody's eating, 10 to 12 servings of grain and carbohydrate a day and maintain body weight. That's just like absurd. And the other things that they tell you to minimize are actually the most helpful foods sometimes. So I know like mainstream information is not correct. But when I look at like, okay, how do I find out about financing? I go to like a financial planner at my bank and they all say the same thing, right? They go, mutual fund, do this, yada, 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 7% return, 20% tax on the 7%. I'm like, cool, I'm gonna make an extra $1,000 a year. That doesn't do anything for me. The same thing is true of health. If you go to like, any personal trainer at any Globo gym, and they're like, cool, do 3 sets of 10 bicep curls, and, really watch your portions, or, do X, Y, and Z. It's like, it's bad information. It might be pointed in the right direction, but conceptually, I don't understand finance like I understand fitness and health. I understand the principles behind, like underlying those things, and so I just haven't found a good teacher yet. Like, and that's so I need that was my question.
Yeah. Like how, and I didn't find a good teacher either. I mean, I was a certified personal trainer.
That's like me being
and that's what's funny.
Me being a CPA.
No, I know, exactly. No, it's like you being an investment advisor, that you could actually be a great investment advisor. I got an ISSA cert, took a few classes. Look at me. I don't believe, because I didn't ever have a mentor. I grew up similar to you, parents, educators. Nobody had excess of money. There was always a lack of, which was what broke me to saying I'm never ever going to be like this. I want to be able to, my brother used to say, I want to grow up and be able to tell my kids no, not because I can't afford it, but because they shouldn't have it, because it's not good for them. Yeah. And the ability to, we've talked about this a bunch, the actual ability to say yes or no financially, or for me to be capable physically, comes from the same principles. Doesn't it?
I think so. That's kind of what I want to learn from you. It's like, they seem like they're similar, right? And the first one I think is the hardest for people to understand about, let's start, like most people just want to lose weight. The principle behind that you're going to find is like calories in, calories out. Now that's true, but it's also largely, it's misdirected, it's misguided, and it causes other problems. Just like if you told me the way to make wealth is through investment, right? But I'm still in debt. That's probably not a smart strategy, even though what you're saying is true. Like, I need compound interest to work for me, not against me. That's a totally true thing, but then how do I actually do that with my psychology in my day life? And so for your weight loss thing, we're like, we know we need a deficit of intake compared to output. Most people do this in wildly unhealthy ways. They go, this happens on New Year's all the time. It's like, the New Year's resolution is my favorite kind of time of year, because you just watch people fail over and over again. And I like watching that because...
I'm laughing. That's when I signed them all up. That's when they came to me as the...
Well,
I'm sorry, that's true though.
Our industry is like, you know, it preys on people like that, right? Oh, here they come. They're hopeful. And then there's really no support structure to actually see people through these processes. The reason why it doesn't work isn't because dieting doesn't work. It isn't that exercise doesn't work. It's that the psychology underlying is more important. Why do you want to change yourself? That's where, like, what's the purpose? Like, it needs to match up with what I'm going to teach you, so I need to know why you're doing it. Before I can teach you anything, I need to learn a bunch of stuff about you in order for that to work. So, like, you know, we've worked together a couple times in a couple different capacities, and you've made some progress, but it was largely based off of somebody controlling the food that you ate. So Aaron would cook for you in your house as a private chef, and it was awesome food. It's nutritious. You don't have to worry about
delicious.
Anything. Yeah, somebody's doing it for you, right?
Yeah, which most people, who gets to have somebody come in and cook and measure and do, you know, this was one of the things that I said before. I can only succeed if I have somebody doing exactly that. And then I would make excuses like, these guys are taking care of movie stars. Yeah. The reason they're so successful is because somebody's doing everything for them. Exactly. Yeah. Right? Which after meeting you the first time, I realized very clearly was a serious misconception. And in fact, I think for the very first time that I met you, if you remember, so Erin's cooking for me for a few weeks, and she said, I think that, you know, Michael's super busy, but you got to meet with him and see if he'll take you as a client, which is outstanding salesmanship. It was true. It was true, but right? I mean, if she's like, oh, my husband's looking for clients, he's got an ISSA cert, he's $49 an hour, I would have been like, I don't know. But desperation. And when I came here, you remember what you did with me? I came to work out. I'm like, I'm going to come work out. And no, there was a whiteboard. You remember what you did? You interviewed me. Tried to find out who I was. What my foundations were like. What was my motivation? Like, what's the goal? What do you want to do this? And then... And what was it at the time? What did you think that it was? At that time, I had an upcoming event. So it was an imminent date that I needed to look decent because I'd been out of the mix for a while and I looked crappy. And that was really the only, you were of course trying to help me to see, which is exactly what I do when I meet with people financially. And I often miss the mark because I'm like, let's change the world. Money doesn't matter. And my brother would say, dude, money only doesn't matter when you don't have to worry about it. Like, these people can't pay their cell phone bills. Don't go talk to them about feeding Africa. You know, and you helped me see and understand, and this is really why I stayed, because those principles of consistency, being clear about what I wanted and why I wanted it, understanding the cost. Remember that? You said, hey, I said, well, how much does it cost? Because I always like having agreements up front. You're like, I don't know. Let me think about it. Like, let me think about it. I'm like, are you going to try to jack me because I have some, right? This was a perception at first. But no, this is really why I stayed. Because I did the same thing. I used to tell people, if somebody is busy and they're successful financially, and a financial investment is not a difficult thing for them. Right. But if they're booked out all the time, ask for their time. Because that's a real sacrifice. Sure. Find what somebody holds valuable and both like conceptually hold that as the value between both of you. Yeah. And that's really what when we started this time around, because I reached that goal and fell off the wagon for whatever reason, chose to get off. Sure. This time around, because I have a gym with everything in it. Yeah, you have more equipment actually than we have in this building inside your house. And it's literally, I can walk 5 steps and go there. And what did you say to me? You've got to get out of your environment. You've got to sacrifice. You need to come up here and get around success. Like, surround yourself with people that are doing this. This is what you guys eat, breathe, think about, live. It's part of your DNA. Sure. And that's what changed. I mean, again, that's exactly what it sold me, because I did not want to drive up here. No. And if I wasn't willing to drive up here, do you think I could be successful? Yes and no.
Like, is it possible? Yes. Is it unlikely? Very much. Because of what most people tick off of is their environment. Like, and this is a large argument going on, like we've talked philosophically about willpower, and a lot of people just, I just need more willpower. And it's like, what if that's not a thing? What if it doesn't exist? And I do think the will exists, but I don't think it's free, because nothing is free.
Yeah,
Like, it costs something. And so your ability to overwrite your behavior costs you something, but not as much if you're around other people that habitually do it. So one of the ways that I've learned, any kind of skill that I want to pick up is just by putting myself in the room with those people. I'm very sneaky, right? Like, what can get me, hey, I'll just hang out. I'm not quiet, but I definitely try to I don't belong here, but I can get in the room because I know I can absorb what's easy for them. And that's how I learned training. It's how I learned physiology. It's how I learned psychology. It's just like showing up and being in the environment, making the environment teach me, as opposed to a dedicated mentorship or something like that. I think so. This is how it goes. Like, one of the first things that we try to uncover about people when we're trying to figure out how they should change their lives in the easiest way possible, and it should be easy. Right? This is another misconception about fitness. It's like, people think it's hardcore. They have these rocky mantras and all these training mantras, and there's always a movie.
That's me. That's me.
The music comes on and people start punching bags of meat and throwing, and you're just like, oh, it's really hard and it's gutting. It's not that it can't be that. It's that you'll never do that repeatedly. Like, that's a very intense time period that you need to finish training. But really, if you want to be really good at something, it should be really easy to do. Which is not I want to come train, but man, I feel rejuvenated by being around people who love to train. And then we rub off on you because it's really not that hard, man. You just show up and hey, if you feel bad, do something different than us, but at least you're absorbing some of our energy. And this is one of our problems with the movie jobs that we've done. Is we teach this principle at the highest level. I know we're going to talk about this later in a fitness magazine about how hardcore it was and how you train 25 hours a day and you only ate kale and dust in order to get this shirtless scene. But really, you're making it harder for yourself by telling everybody how hard it is. And instead, we no, show how easy it is so you can do it, so you can make yourself do it, not so you can impress somebody else. And that's something that I think a lot of people might not have access to, but they could search that out. And that's why, somebody's a remote client, they're asking questions about, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? And it's like, what's your spouse like? Are they active? Are they not active?
You asked me that, and I was thinking, what does that have to do with anything? Remember?
I think it's everything.
It was everything. You were spot on. Who's living with you at your home?
Yeah.
Do you have children?
Yeah.
What's affecting your environment? You asked me all of those things. And at the time, actually thinking about finances, what you just said, I agree completely. I think about people that I, love, that I work with, like my family members. It's easy. It's become easy to me.
Yeah.
And it should be simple. You shouldn't have to make dramatic changes, but I see the value of time and consistency basically overarching everything else. Because if you combine those two things, doing the right things consistently over an extended period of time.
I think of it on that same principle. This is this is a higher line concept kind of for everything. But if I think about, your life as a tapestry of sorts, right? I'm I want to make something beautiful that's memorable, that's warm, comforting. It's it has all the qualities, right? How do you go about it? Making a tapestry or putting a blanket together, and that's really what we're talking about. It's it depends on how much attention you put into each thread. And each thread you control, but a lot of people just think that I want the biggest blanket. So I just need the most threads, but they're not paying attention to the softness or the actual fibers that go into it. And so that's what we try to get down to the root of. Is like thread each thing by hand and make sure it's the one that you want inside. Like be very intentional about, I'm adding this practice of exercise because I want to not be crippled when I'm 60. I want to be able to run around with my kids at 70. I want to be actually cognizant and like support good bone structure when I'm 80. Now all that stuff is hard to, that's retirement garbage. That's what people don't want to think about. But that really is, those are the first threads. It's the long-term investment. Like how I would imagine buying a house is. It's not, up front it's kind of I have to do this thing and the mortgage and all the insurance and the property, the property taxes. But I know in 20 years, I'm going to look back and be like, man, I wish I did that 10 years before. And that's how we look at fitness first. Now, once I set up the original blueprints, fun can be had once you understand the long-term investment and then you start working on the foundation. And all the good stuff happens kind of in between. I'm just projecting this part. So
I'm smiling because I'm thinking about exactly this. I was not thinking about fun. I was thinking about sacrifice and not eating what I wanted to, working like crazy, sacrifice. That's where my head was. And I remember when we're in Peru, we have no plans to, I was just working, right? I'm going to speak and we work out and you guys are crushing every person in every gym in the country. But then we had a chance to do like a few days off. And we choose to go to Machu Picchu. And for me, on my end, the ability to not take the bus, but actually hike, not the entire trail, but something that should have taken us, what did they say? It was like a couple hours. And you and I did it in under an hour.
45 minutes.
And I'm definitely not the kind of shape you are, but I was able to follow your steps and kind of keep your pace and do the things you taught me. And I had, in my life, one of the greatest experiences. I wasn't expecting it, but it was because when we started right there, you said, for us, capability is really important. What does that mean? If you want to do something, you can choose it. I feel the same way about finances. I really do. Because money's just a tool. It only makes you more of what and who you already are. It'll magnify you or it'll crush you.
It took finances to get to that spot on earth, and then it took physical ability to actually appreciate it.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of finances, but I could never have done it before. There might have been times in my life when I could have. Many years I wouldn't have been able to. I wasn't even afraid of it. Because I just knew what you taught me. Just find your breath. If you need to stop, just, get back to center, and then you just keep moving. And it was never a question. It was one of my life, it's really one of the greatest moments in my life. Climbing up that, getting there.
Yeah, I would agree. On both sides. And this is where I think this thing comes in, is because that was one of the most memorable experiences for us, because you facilitated the part that we couldn't have done for ourselves.
And vice versa.
And then
you helped me facilitate the part I couldn't do. Not only physically, but because I struggle with some mental challenges, as you know, I would not have gotten out of bed to go there. I can get on stage for 10,000 people and put on a good show, and then I cover under my crash. I'm dead. Those were the things. Not only I was capable physically, but mentally. And I wouldn't have done it if I would have been alone. I wasn't at that place, which is why it was great to be surrounded with
an environment.
Greatness. People that just did that. There's no question. Of course we're going to do it. We're in Peru.
We're never coming back here.
Because Aaron and I got yellow fever. It was terrible. You want to lose weight fast?
Yellow fever. 5 pounds from my goal weight. Go ahead and hop off.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah, something like that. Maybe 25 minutes. Let me look.
It's okay. Go a little bit.
This is 29:30.
You have to finish it out.
Yeah, see, this is part of my OCD. Sorry.
What's the rule?
Our dear friend. I can't. 29. That was one of my other hardest lessons. You remember that? I'm feeling strong. We're deadlifting, putting 5-10 pounds on each time. And I'm like, dude, I can do more. Finally feeling strong after years. And you said, no, that's it. That's it? What are you talking about? That's it. I can do more. I finally feel strong enough. Yeah, but the hardest choice The hardest, the most difficult choice right now is to not do it. I'm suffering from that right now with a brand new truck that I ordered. It's really similar. Like, it would be easy for me. I have the money, I can do it. But now I'm fighting in my mind against what I want long term and the commitments I've made towards these principles and what I want right now. Because I'm tired of getting passed on the freeway in my 4Runner. I miss my 911.
I think this is kind of interesting for me because I think I mean, I have a lot of work to do in the realm that you've really become great at. And here's the funny part. You're not a certified, you're not a, PhD in finance or whatever.
I've got nothing.
This is how removed I don't even know what the degree
I'm a street brawler finance guy.
Right, no MBA, none of that stuff.
Well, I do. I have an MBA, massive bank account. Oh! I've got a PhD in results.
Nice.
That's all going underneath you. I'm going to do a lower third.
This is how I used to go. People would be like, "What? Why should I listen to you?
Yeah.
What are the letters behind your name?" And I would say MBA, PhD, DMN. Oh, really? You've got an MBA, PhD? Oh, outstanding. What's the DMN? Don't mean nothing.
I joke about this. Like, my dog has more certifications than I do. Right? He's got
You're telling me you're not certified to train me?
I'm not certified in anything. Like the last thing that I got that was officially regulated was a cosmetology license. That was the only thing that I've been formally educated in. I dropped out of college. I barely passed high school. I've never felt like I wasn't educated. I always just educated myself about things that I wanted to know about. But I've really done well with myself to never rely on somebody else to tell me if I know something or not. If I know it, it works. And if I don't, I've got more work to do. And that's been, it's a soft spot for a while, because when people, if I don't have a name to myself and I don't have these letters behind my name and I went to this school and I've trained with this person, I felt self-conscious about that for a little bit, just to hear.
Okay.
And then
See, there you go. The little things, the details.
lead with the elbow.
Okay, lead with the elbow.
Yeah, there you go. Because then my wrist can stay.
Does it matter? Yeah, it does.
A little bit.
But see, I could have been doing this all by myself at home and hurt myself. Just like you investing all by yourself.
I know, right? I could really do some damage.
Now you can invest in my friend's Ponzi scheme,
So this isn't advice for anybody, and I think that is the best part, is that it's like, I trust you because you've been on a similar road as me, right? Like, I can see you actually respect ability in what you're trying to be good at, right? Not the esoteric stuff, not the theory, not the how much do you know, how many people do you know, how many of this, that, and the other, which is what sadly our education system is based off of. But it should be based off of like learning from people who know how to teach, and those people know how to teach because they know how to learn themselves. So I went to recognize it in you. I was like, I don't even know what I need to learn. I just know I'm not good with money. Like, I know that. And it's not that I'm bad. I pay my bills. I'm not.
When you're actually really successful.
Sure.
You really are.
Here's why I think I'm successful. I manage my own time, and I'm partners with somebody that I really respect in both marriage life and business life. Those two things. Now, I haven't paid myself very much from our successes, but that's because I'm going off of the idea based off of we want our business to be successful, so we want to reinvest in the business over and over again. So my success is mostly just personal gratification. I do what I want to do. I spend time doing what I want to do. The second I can't do that, I think I'm a failure. But this saying is really funny because it comes up a lot. I have a problem with the complacency thing where you're you're good just how you are, you're great, just learn to love yourself. I'm I have a huge problem with that statement because it shows a lack of transformation or metamorphosis, so it shows a lack of progression. If you think that you've already arrived, there's going to be this state that overwhelms you of this is it, this is all I get. Or even better, if I learn to love myself just how I am, why would I want to change? And then I just fall into this this is a mediocre life. I think there's a way to put it. It's you're perfect just the way you are, and there's room for improvement. Those two things together shows I can do better, but I do accept my flaws. I do accept that instead of worrying about finance and money, I mostly blew my money on race cars and frivolous things, stuff that I should have been buying because I thought that success was the look of success. Just like when I first got into fitness, I felt like the look of fitness was fitness, right? If I had a six-pack and I was jacked and tan, like I felt like that's the only calling card that I needed, and it does work.
And I'm never going to be fit because I'm never going to be tan. Not anymore anyway. I used it all up, sadly. It is a great benefit, and I know because I have been in great shape in my life.
Sure.
And I've had great coaches. The reason I come here is for this. Michael challenges the way that I think, the way that I look at the world. He inspires me to be better, and this is exactly what my dad taught me. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And I wanted a little bit different future. Everything you just described is where I got. I got to where I thought I was going to finally be happy and feel accomplished, and I stopped progressing. And guess what? My physical health suffered, my spiritual health suffered, my mental health suffered. The only thing, and actually, you know what? My financial health was suffering to some degree.
Yeah.
But I used to console myself by saying, well, at least I have a bunch of freaking money.
Yeah.
And then I would feel this empty feeling and go, that's not why you did any of this.
I think the exact same thing. So at the pinnacle of, what I would say, my physical ability, where I thought, I got into this world of training and competing, and I felt like I could do pretty much anything I put my mind to. I felt very powerful, physically. And then there's this point where competition becomes so overwhelmingly important that you actually lose your health. You lose that feature that you actually were seeking because you're so over leveraged on competition. And it kind of, the bottom fell out when I was riding bikes and racing bikes. It just it became this really weird feeling where, although I had this physical capacity that most people will never feel, strength and an ability in endurance sports, I could win things, I could compete at a very high level, I also felt very empty. Okay, now that I've got it, now I'm not happy. I've got all these things that I went after. I should be yes, I got it. Goal achieved. I can lift this much weight, or I can race this bike, or I won this and I proved myself physically. I dominated other people. It really was the opposite. There was a sorrow there. Oh shit. I thought this was going to be something else. I thought you just figured out that mountain that I saw in the background that I thought it'd be great to get to. By the time I got there, I was this is just burned turf. It's nothing worth seeing. And not that competition can't offer you a lot of things, and that physical ability isn't really important to push yourself. Just a total oh shit, if that wasn't the thing, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. And so I didn't know where to go. Even though, and so you just kind of mosey around for a couple years, kicking the can down the road. And it's really hard to well, then why do you train? It became a habit at that point, and just making money for you might be the habit, and then you get really dangerous with it. Then it's
it's the default.
Oh yeah.
It literally, for me, it just became the default.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it was a habit anymore. It was a default to where I would go to try to escape. And I'm smiling when you're saying this because when I first met you, that's really what intrigued me when I was talking to Aaron in my kitchen. Because, here I am, I've just gotten divorced. Most people thought I was the pinnacle of my career. Anybody that you asked in my professional world, I walked on water, which I hated that. But that's where I was. I wanted something different. She said to me, it's interesting. Michael's been at the top of his career for so long. And he said to me the other day, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that anymore. That's not who I want to be. That was why I was I want to meet him, because that's exactly where I was.
Yeah, I was unhappy.
So
I was really unhappy.
So I didn't know that about you other than what she mentioned.
And not that happiness is a thing. I don't seek happiness, but I do seek satisfaction. I do seek this, a satisfaction to me is one of those things that's it's not even a word you can really describe. It's a feeling and an emotion that it goes along with effort. And it doesn't matter if you win or lose, I'm satisfied with what I did, what I sought to do there. And I was unsatisfied with all the things that people portrayed in my profession as the pinnacle. Oh, you work for a movie star. Oh, you train professional athletes. Oh, you do this. Oh, you write books. You do all these things. And I go, yeah, that's you take it. Give me something there. Like, I will trade you in a second. I don't want any of this shit.
I know this feeling so much, man. That's exactly what intrigued me, because I'd give it all to somebody.
For sure.
And what was it though? I didn't want to let go of the result. Like, you could never take that from me. No. I had all the knowledge, all of the results. I had everything that came with it, which is why I was willing to let it go.
Because I could get back to any place that I've been, because I got there based off of figuring out principles that got me there. Right? Like, there's a map that works. Now, some of it's luck. A lot of it is luck, but timing and meeting the right people at the right time. But I also factor that in. Like, well, if I have to meet the right people at the right time, I'm going to be there all the time, and I'm going to be around all the people. And then eventually it'll happen again. So I know I could always result in it, but the dismay that comes from not having the sensation that you expect is you start to harm yourself. And I mean not in a way that anybody notices. I'm into fitness, so therefore I just started training to see what I could get away with in really dangerous ways. Like, inappropriate way, competing in stuff that, where you're really putting your health at risk. And that's because, well, what I thought would please me didn't. So I'm going to go on the loose end and be really angry and do all these things that are kind of haphazard. And I think this is where I could see it with people when they don't have money and they come into money. They act like that. Oh, I thought once I had money I wouldn't have any problems. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh, that's when they start. That's really for real. Oh my gosh.
And
you know what? Everybody, it's patronizing to say that.
Yeah.
I know what it feels like that.
Sure.
I have siblings. There's 6 of us in my family. And my sisters, people just roll their eyes. Like, when I say something like that, but I wish it upon you. Like, I would love for you to have that, but I would way rather have you, just like me, you're trying to help me, be prepared for that challenge. It's easy to say what you would do if you had the 10-pack and the tan and you look great. It's easy for me to say what I would do if I had millions of dollars and I could go buy whatever I wanted. I only knew actually when I got there, and luckily I had a good foundation. But before I was a millionaire and bankrupt twice by the time I was 27. So I'd made a lot of bad choices, and the third time around I was like, dude, getting here is the same way with my fitness, man. Starting over sucks. It is the worst, right?
Sure.
And
it's also the
with
best,
finances. Right? But if you put yourself I don't know that starting over. I think starting something new is the best, but starting over,
sure,
like physically or financially, like going to a net worth that is significant and then losing it all,
sure,
because of terrible decisions. Same thing here, dude. I've been in great shape, and look at me now. And I'm like 30% body fat. I like break a sweat getting out into my car. I look at myself. I'm like, I look like my dad. My feet are old. My head's old. And I think, where did I miss this on the path? Like, what happened to me when I decided that, hey, today it doesn't matter anymore? And then that became the consistency. I switched consistent effort, and I've done it financially. I did it in my 20s. It was self-destructive. I made lots of money, became very successful. And then I subconsciously blew it all up, because I noticed people that I thought were my friends would disappear. My family it was awkward.
Sure.
I couldn't travel with anybody I loved. I'd be like, hey, let's go to Hawaii. Let's go do something. And they're like, bro, I got a job.
Yeah.
And I remember what that was like. Yeah. And then I felt like an a-hole.
Right.
So then I didn't want to invite anybody.
Right. So you go introverted.
But I've done the same thing with my body. So how do I, because this is a question for you, because you're a deep thinker, you think through these kind of things. I don't have time to do that anymore. My mom's just had a stroke. I do not want to be there, right? I do not, dude, I don't want to get to that place where somebody else is picking me up and cleaning me up and I can't move my arms. And I am so much like my mom, a little bowl of ice cream before bed and these kind of things. Like, what do I need? How do I need to think? And what can I incorporate in my life now? So that, like you said, when I'm 80, I've got strong bones and maybe I can still deadlift something.
This is
like that's what's driving me right now.
This is kind of, we're going to go straight to the really deep, dark part about why we are different than other people talking about fitness. When people are talking about fitness, they're usually talking about they're talking about capability, but they're also talking about the look of capability, the aesthetic that goes along with this thing. And that's really like the lure, right? That's the sparkly thing that puts a hook in my mouth and drags me along to eventual everybody's mortality. When we talk about it, we're very dark sometimes, but we're talking about fitness not in learning how to bench press or ride a bicycle or beat people in competition. We're thinking about fitness as in the old term, fitness, the survival part of fitness. In our modern world, survival and being fit is figuring out how to live really well. Like that is how I describe fitness. Are you fit? And you're like, yeah, I can do this number. Yeah, but are you living well? Like, do you want to live? Like that to me is fitness. If you're excited about life and waking up, I don't care what you do, you're winning. Like you're winning this whole thing. And when you see somebody die, I think it's really important. I think this whole living thing is only in reflection when we watch our loved ones die unexpectedly and otherwise. Sometimes it's easier when they die unexpectedly because you don't have to think about it. It's just like, oh, it happened, and then we grieve and we do this process, and it can be very hard. It's almost harder when we watch it happening and we predict that it's going to happen, because then we reflect on ourselves. Most people, they get diagnosed with cancer, and then they make the change, right? They have to hit the bottom to bounce back off of it. And I
or they don't.
You don't have to do that. You just have to find the same power in your thought process to know why you're doing something.
So I had occasion to go to a fundraiser for a really good charity, and Bill Clinton happened to be the keynote speaker. And we're in the middle of the Midwest, right? Very conservative audience. Nobody stood up when he came out. I'm not even kidding. It was like, And I have this whole thing on film. It changed my life. His speech, I have never been, his charisma, his intellect. I was mesmerized by how he controlled this. It wasn't even control, is not the right word. He moved us. And his speech was about this idea. He talked about the Human Genome Project, mapping it under his presidency. They put a lot of money invested into that. And the message of his entire speech was this, that we spend our lifetimes fighting over the 0.01% that makes us different instead of celebrating everything that brings us together. And I'm telling you, I stood up I ended up donating most of my income to spend a day with him after that. I'm like, yeah!
That's charisma.
The whole place jumps up,
Wow.
And then when I get home, my dad's like, you donated how much to do what? Didn't you hear about Lolita Express? I was like, he invited me on the airplane. That is true, but just cut that out.
He just had this really nice guy named Jeffrey. He just wanted me to meet his friend Jeffrey.
Okay, so I have pictures of that. I have it on my phone. When he shakes my hand, because the Secret Service, they come over, because right after this, I'm not, I'm sitting there going, I have to know this man. I grew up in a conservative political family, but I wasn't involved in politics, and so I'd heard things. And I had a friend whose father was a poli-sci teacher at the U. So he talked about how brilliant Bill Clinton was. He's a Rhodes Scholar. This guy is a brilliant man. I'm like, I want to be around that. I was speaking for a living. I'm like, this person has more talent in his pinky than all of me. And right then, the founder of this So the World May Hear, he invented the modern day hearing aid. He's a billionaire. He stands up, this is his program, and he said, hey, former President Clinton is so impressed by this audience that he would like to donate a day with him, any day, you can pick it in the world, to spend with him and be around him and, spend time with him, and the money will be donated to this foundation. My heart is like, and I am the poorest guy in the room. Oh. For real. They'd already done bidding. They'd already raised $10 million. Bids were starting at $350,000 for stuff. I went there with some money that I thought I could donate, and after the very first bid, $150, $250, I was like, sitting there. So my mind's calculating, what am I know I have to, I just knew in my soul I had to do this. So he said, and we're gonna start the bidding off, and didn't say anything, and I jumped up with my bid card, and I was on the table, and I cried out a number, and the whole place, luckily we have this all on film, because the whole place goes silent, and nobody else bid. Going once, going twice, sold, and they gave it to me. So now the whole place goes, the Secret Service rolls right over to me, to talk to me, and then President Clinton waves me over. So I've got all these pictures of us, and I walk over, I've got this faux hawk, and he looks up at my hair and he goes, we're gonna have a lot of fun together. Anyway, very interesting. So needless to say, I didn't go to the island, and I never flew private with him, just so everyone knows. Okay? But what was the point of this story other than to edify myself? I don't know. But he was a really incredible guy. He really was such an impressive human being.
Yeah.
His talent and ability to communicate and move an audience that was hostile towards him, and then have the entire thing. It was a standing ovation for 5 minutes because that was what it was. We have so much more that pulls us together that, let alone kissing each other and making kind of gaffes and making mistakes in society because we don't understand it. And I feel like our society now is only focused on that.
Well, this is kind of the weird part. Like, maybe the only reason we realize like the similarities between opposing stuff. They're not opposing. They're congruent. But like the subjects are polarized in their own. Their finance or health and wealth are kind of in their own fields. I think the only reason we realize it is because we spent a lot of time around each other, and you just start to know. Oh, hold on a second. And this is what you learn when you travel. When you go to like countries where you don't speak the language, you're like, oh, that's weird. They have this thing, but we're kind of like that. We do this, and you start to like bridge that gap. And that's kind of what allowed us to be like the whole chiasmus thing, the mirroring thing. I teach a principle. That's really funny because when I teach people how to do their bank account, it's like I teach a diet, and I'm like, well, what are you eating now? And you teach a finance, and you're like, well, how are you spending money now? It's like accounting, simple basic accounting that nobody wants to do. But if you understand the principle, then you're like, oh, it's the same thing.
It weaves us together. I just know that. This is what I enjoy about being, in this environment. I recognize that's identical, right? Those same principles. I really believe that those roots are what weave us together. And success this is why I can confidently say when we were talking about this whole idea, oh, you'll crush it. Just like you told me, if you'll crush it, you have the drive, you move well, you can do, I know that you'll be able to be successful if you know what to do. And that's where I think most people, at least for me, I had no idea. We were talking about finance and fitness.
Right. Yeah.
And I never had a financial mentor. My parents are school teachers, but my dad was honorable. And he taught about keeping commitments and not being in debt and trying to save for the future, which are all great fundamental principles.
Yeah, those are investment principles.
But guess what? He wasn't able to do it ever his whole life, ever, until, sadly, always suffering from. And actually, that's the thing. Like how much stress, and this is really what I spent 25 years now of my life doing, selling vitamins to people, vitamin M. It is like, man, it relieves stress. It it's anti-aging. It does, and people would be like, vitamin M, I've never heard of that. And I would say money. I came up with this when I was like 20, so it's not super exciting. But it is money. I really feel like that. I saw so many people stressed about money. And I don't want it to control my life. I don't want to worry about it anymore. My mom and dad suffered from... hey, honey, you got to drive down because we got to cover this check. We got to get money into the bank. And I saw a lot of effort and time and resources that could have gone to other more beneficial things wasted in worry because they didn't have a foundation. And here I am now physically having the same problem, but I can afford great help. You spend your youth, right, to gain your wealth. You spend your health, which is what I did, traveling, not taking care of myself, flying all over the world, different beds 300 nights out of the year, eating crappy, didn't eat all day, and then I ate junk food at 9 o'clock at night, drove through all these things to spend my youth and my health so that I could get wealthy. And now here I am, middle-aged, spending my wealth to get help. There's another chiasmus.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can help a bunch of people not have to do those same things.
Yeah. So I did the opposite thing, and now I'm going to spend my health trying to get wealthy. but at least I have it as a resource.
Yeah, you do.
Like I can stay up later. I can go without. I can do these things because I've trained myself to be able to do them. And now that you have to be ready to do them. Is the other thing. Everybody says that they want money their whole life, but they're not really willing to do what it takes to get money.
Yeah, or to cheat to cut everything short, which is, this is what I see in fitness, the same, the similarity. Yeah. And it's the same thing we talked about earlier. I have a friend that unfortunately got involved in a scheme. I mean, he's an honest person, believes he's an honest person, he's a great guy, and now he's going to go to prison for 2 years because he was helping someone else that was dishonest, trying to give returns in a short period of time, drawing on people's greed, right? We'll give you 300% return. I was the same way. I'm not going to put $50 a month away, and like when I'm 35 or 40, I might have $100,000. Like that doesn't motivate me, and that was the mistake.
Yeah.
The mistake was not consistently just putting a little bit aside. You know, I told you the math. If I hadn't have bought all the cars I bought, I just did the math with my nephew because he's 18. He's starting to make some good money, and he wants to buy the car that I just sold. And I'm like, are you insane? No, he wants to buy. Yeah, I sold everything. I sold all my cars and I bought the green 4Runner out there. It's very slow. I've never been pulled over since. I literally, it is the greatest thing. I'm like, I want to get pulled over for speeding, but I can't. It's so great. But anyway, so I'm telling him, I said, hey, Jeremiah, let's just do the math. You can have anything you want. If that's really important to you and that'll drive you to put the effort in, because he's knocking doors selling solar. Oh. Pretty hard to do, right? But I've said if that will motivate you to get out and work, but let's think about what you want to do with the money. He already knows the other foundational things I taught him, which is what? You've got to have an emergency fund. Like I really believe that you have to have an emergency fund even before you pay your debt off. Because people that are trying to get out of debt, now all of a sudden kid breaks their leg or I have some other emergency, and what do? I just paid off the $10,000 on the credit card. I feel so great, and now I'm going to go and take the $10,000 off the credit card. Yeah. So I really believe in building that, foundation. So we added up all the money that I've spent on cars since I was his age. And if I would have just put that in conservative investment, getting on average what the market has been returning for the last 35 years, after taxes, I'd have $6.7 million right now.
Just through cars?
Just only my cars. Because I said, hey, what cars do you see that I own right now? All those cars that I bought, where are they? They're rust buckets somewhere. Actually, one of them, the one supercar I bought, my travel agent owns, and it costs him what
made you decide to change?
I realized that even though with a huge excess of money that I had, it's really what I was learning, what I've always known, that I wanted to change. I wanted my life to be different because I was just allowing myself to have everything that I wanted, and that I needed to. I wanted my life to be different. That's why I changed. I wanted to be different at 55 than I am at 45. And I don't worry about money. I really don't. But I want to be a better steward over the resources that I believe I've been blessed with for a purpose. And so at 55, I'm going to be able to look at somebody and say, guess what? I didn't buy the Porsche. I didn't have any speeding tickets. I invested all that money, and now I have $12 million.
What are you going to do with the $12 million?
I'm going to buy a Gulfstream G150, and we're going to travel the world. I mean, really, what would you do? But see, this is the thing that I was apprehensive about talking about my situation. And then I felt the same thing with you because you're elite. You guys are elite athletes. You guys are at the highest level of your world. And I'm really not, but I realize that all of us talking right here in the top 1% of humanity of wealth,
for sure.
right?
And I would
and
say
success and opportunity.
we're not I don't see us as that either. I see us as like we figured some stuff out and we can continue to figure some stuff out. And then there's like the freaks. There's like, the NBA players. There's like all these athletes that are actually making like hundreds of millions of dollars just for their physical performance. But it's the same thing. It's like, well, that's not applicable to most people. Like what LeBron James does for a workout doesn't matter to most people. And it shouldn't. Like what Warren Buffett does to make money is irrelevant. There's a difference between how do I make money if I have $100 million in the account? It's different than how do I make money if I'm $30,000 in debt? Those are two wildly different scenarios. And I think, how do I get fit if I haven't touched anything for 20 years? That's our realm that we excel at. And I think your realm that you excel at is the same thing. Like, how much debt do you have? Okay, how much how much does your nail salon make or whatever business that you're in that's like, there's positive cash flow maybe, but people are just stuck in this.
What if you're an employee like my sister, single mom, 4 kids, making $800 a month, and she's like, I can't even communicate with you because you live in a different planet. Yeah. No, the principles are exactly the same.
Sure.
Right? And if you utilize these tools that we talk about, her whole life is different. financially in 6-7 months, because she, just like me, you teach me a few principles, consistency, I'm putting in effort. Talk to her about using tools, credit tools, putting money aside. Those are the things to me. It's the discipline of saying that I'm going to withhold today what I want right now for something that I want in the future, which has always been really hard for me. I really want it now, right? And the reality is that I was not investing into the Kenton. Well, that's not true, because I'm grateful for the 25-year-old Kenton, because I'm living and benefiting from his efforts right now. And all of us can look back and think anything that we did well, wouldn't we have wished we did it sooner, or learned it sooner, or started it sooner? Like, if you understand a principle of success, wouldn't you? Like Trevor Thompson posts something that I love. It's like some quote about you can never make up the work that you should have done. Like, never regret. What is his statement? It's so stinking good. I wrote it down. Dang it, Trevor, we need that. It's like, anyway, I'll find it, because it is so good. It's basically saying never regret the work I could have done today. Because when you really need the fitness in the future, if you hadn't put in the work right now, or finances, you're not going to have it when you really need it.
Yeah, no one ever showed up. Man, I'm way too prepared. No one's like, I shouldn't have prepared this much. Like, why did I prepare this much? It's ridiculous.
Right. That is the
I'm
idea.
way too fit for this event. It's just not even fun anymore because I'm too fit. Or like, man, I have way too much money. I should have slowed down and been a little bit more poor, because now it's just a waste.
Yeah, nobody thinks that way. And so, but how often do we look back with some level of regret, like I am, and saying, why did I buy, that supercar, or those 20 things that are worth nothing today? I mean, I realize why I did it. It served a purpose. I'm not regretful, and I'm not living in regret. What I'm trying to do is use the knowledge and experience I have now, looking at the past and saying, how can I apply those lessons to be more effective in the future, and hopefully help people that I love that happen to be where I was 7 or 8 years ago, so that when they end up where I'm at right now, they're far beyond where I am.
Yeah.
And I don't have all the answers. I'm like you, I have lots of questions. And I know it works, though. So we hope we can do that for some people. That's really what this is about, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be fun. Let's get you to actually work out.
What are you talking about? This talking was the hardest work I've ever done.
We got a 150-pound sandbag.
Oh, now that's not one of those good guys. Oh my gosh.
You got this guy.
Okay.
I'm not going to have you use this yet, but it is fun. We're going to set up a little ladder.
Me too, man. I thought I was getting out of this. I got to be honest. I'm like, we're talking a lot. Somebody came by. We're not going to have to actually work.
This is awesome.
This is awesome.
I don't get distracted that easy.
I know you don't. I know.
Actually, we use some. Grab a 25 and a 30.
25 and the 30s are down here. Okay.
We'll have to warm up a little bit again. That's okay. We'll do it with my face first. Start nice and easy. So dumbbell snatch, just from a high hang pull. Switch. Good. 10. Take a breath. 10, 10. So let's go 10, 8, 6, 4, and 2.
Catch like this.
Yep. Yep, there you go.
I'm actually really glad while this is being filmed that at some point we're going to look at Michael's finances.
So my starting point. We will, for sure.
I'm totally
I've been worried about it, actually.
Your finances are way better than my my current physical health. I don't even know why I'm doing this, right? But
Dude, no shit, this just happened. I forgot to pay our water bill. What? Yeah, it got shut off yesterday. It's not that we don't have money for it. I just we're in this weird. Here's the thing. I never set it up on automatic payment.
That's what I was going to say.
Because I'm terrified of somebody else controlling the money that I have.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't like that idea, but it's a really dumb idea.
Yes, especially, not dumb. It's not serving. It's not.
It's misplaced fear.
Yeah,
right.
it is
It's
for
like
sure.
it's energy that I don't need, and now instead I have to scramble at the end of the day. It's a stress, and it's just like, why didn't I do this? This is like, and we've just been busy, but you know, it's like one of those bills that I don't check mail. Like, who checks their mail anymore? It's all like.
Sadly, I do.
Do you really?
Yeah, well, I have somebody that.
It's all junk to me.
It is. Well, so I have Sandra. Sandra like sorts it for me.
Yeah.
And then only my bills. But see, here's something that changed mentally for me. The most important thing, she knows this, and this is about you. If you wake up in the morning, I almost guarantee, most important thing is well, I've traveled and lived with you guys.
Yeah.
Got to get our fitness in. When I wake up in the morning, I'm not even kidding, dude. It is my finances. I make sure, like everybody in my world knows, no bill ever goes on. It's like my whole focus.
Really?
My credit, my balances. I'm a little OCD.
No, that's okay.
But it's a habit. It's a habitual.
Yeah, totally. Like
You
if
know?
we travel and we don't know where the gym is, we don't know like what the environment. Is there a hike that we could do? Or there
Well, yeah, and
bicycles
see,
we
you
could
guys
ride?
did this before we went to Peru. Every single gym, you'd write people. You had the whole stinking thing planned out and executed.
But we had no idea even when my bills were due.
See, and for me, I know exactly. And actually, my dad was excellent at that because he had some background in bookkeeping. But he would have a map of all of the bills, and I have a semi-photographic memory, so I see a month in my mind, and I know exactly what days I get paid, what day this cash comes in, and what day all these bills
I'm
are.
terrified of all of that information. Well,
So
maybe
this is
because
the
our business is so sporadic. Like we pay ourselves out of it, but I never know how much I'm going to be able to pay myself based off of what we bring.
Okay,
in.
so this is super interesting because I'm terrified to know what my body fat is. So how much does it serve me though to actually assess where I'm really at? I'm terrified to know what I'm eating, right?
Yeah,
I'm
that's
terrified
an
to know.
important-
You know what I'm saying?
That's an important metric.
Yeah, and so is the metric you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. I understand
Yeah.
why. It's just like there's fear around it, and that fear.
What's the
like
fear?
when you don't. That I'm not like I don't have. It's like
Do I switch at the top?
I switch on the way down.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I'm like hitting my.
Yeah. So I switch. So go up to the top.
Okay.
Now start to bring it down.
Okay, and then switch.
as-
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Up and then okay.
The fear is like not being able to provide, like recognizing the deficit, right? Being like, oh shit, I didn't make enough money, or and so that's not even a possibility because we have plenty. Like we have more than enough. We can save money. We can do all these things.
But have there been times when you haven't?
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
And is that where that comes from?
Yeah, we have that dog. We spent our last $250 on that dog. That was the last.
Honestly, this is one of the greatest stories. This is like a Rocky story. Spent his last 200 for real, dude.
Oh, for sure. That was, and at the time it felt so stupid, but we were struggling. We had just gotten into a house. We don't know how we got that house, right? But I had broken my arm. In that I didn't have insurance, so that's $64,000. I had an emergency appendectomy a month before that. I didn't have insurance, so $17,000. You'd think that I would learn a lesson somewhere along this thing, but so I had that. And then Erin was going through a custody battle with her daughter, and at the time, my job that I was depending on, to send me to these, movie sets or whatever, kind of shut down. And so I was just like in the middle of not making any money, accumulating a vast amount of debt, and not wanting to deal with any of it, other than just like, can we eat food tonight? That's like the real position we're in. Like, what can we? And there was obviously like, we maxed out a couple credit cards to be able to live for a couple months. But the last cash that I had, I got this guy. He knows it. Look at him. He knows. You guys talking about me? And it was probably the best investment we ever got because it took our mind off of like the imminent threat and it put it towards something that we had to care for. Like we had to care for him.
I don't want to accidentally drop this weight on me. Oh, look at this. I'm so terrible. He lays down. I love Lambert so much. I was like, this would be so terrible. 35 pounds and it's all over. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I think that's Lambert's story.
Well, yeah, but that's your story,
And
though.
he's
And
a-
you know
so
what? It's everybody's. So
he's-
how many people are in a similar situation to the point of how do you guard against that? I want to talk to, I think we can bring value to people that are self-employed in understanding and not being afraid of, at some point, self-insuring, but being able to have insurance. I've always had insurance, and I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. And I think it's a misconception. There are ways to be really smart. I mean, you can't believe, nobody can believe what my insurance costs are. And it's because of the way that I set up having a group insurance through my company, and I'll teach that to you because it'll save you. But even if you're gonna self-insure, the way you self-insure is like an insurance company. Insurance companies have to keep a certain percentage of all premiums available in cash at all times. For what purpose? Emergency. For somebody to claim. If we all worked like a well-oiled insurance company, and this is what you said earlier about Warren Buffett, his cash flow came from where? To invest insurance. Insurance companies, if they're operating well, are some of the soundest businesses in the world. Most sound. Why? Because it's math, simple math. They have actuarial data. They know exactly how many. It's not betting. It's not risk. It really isn't if they do it well. And our life should be set up like an insurance company, making sure that I have 3 months, 6 months in savings or in an emergency fund that I just don't touch, so that when all hell breaks loose, that's my insurance.
Interesting.
This changed my life. I didn't do it for a long time. That's why I went bankrupt twice. The reason I went bankrupt, I'm making $100,000 a month at like 21. How can you waste that?
How could you?
I did. I figured out how to bankrupt myself. I can teach you how to do that too.
We'll save that for another series.
One of the ways was to not be people don't like that word of insurance, but whatever feels good. Those fears, I think you know this too, the fear, that's why are you afraid to look at it? Why is somebody really afraid to write down their net worth?
Because you just said it's worth. I'm looking at my worth, and if it's not very high, the self-reflection is I'm not worth very much. Right? And it's a dumb thing, like psychologically, I know this stuff, and I've done this I know my worth in the physical space because I know what I'm capable of, and I don't let numbers get to me. So if I go into a competition and I know what certain people can do, it doesn't bother me. I can know that they're this much better than me, but I know on the day what I'm capable of. And a lot of people who have very high values in their ability, they can't do it on the day when they need to, and I know that, so I have a better mindset than most people, and I can fuck with them because of that. I can really poke at them, and that drives their numbers down and it drives my numbers up. But I haven't figured out how to do that with money yet. So I'm an amateur. I'm the same person as somebody who comes in here and makes their performance on the day becomes their self-worth. And that's really where we stop. Like, you're still valuable. You need to take this space. This is processing, and I need to take my value, my worth out of what I'm looking at when I look at a bank account, which is not very awesome. It is like we do great.
You guys do great. The reason I'm breathing like this is because I'm working through detaching my self-worth from my bank account. Right? I mean, I happen to be the poorest guy in my neighborhood. So if I'm comparing myself all day, I'm going to be freaking miserable.
Yes.
And so I have to constantly remind myself, I think it was Thoreau said, a comparison is the thief of all joy. And I find myself comparing myself to my neighbors. You know where I live. They're building 40,000 square foot homes, 6,000 square foot gyms, all these things. And I could think cars, airplanes, all of those things. And I get caught up in that. And then I stop and I take a deep breath and I look at who I am, where I came from, and where I want to go. And guess what? That's not the trajectory that I'm on. I don't want to get there. So why am I trying to,
This is the same when people are like, when I fundamentally think about my own value, I think about how I can serve other people actually. Like that's where my true value is. It's not in things that I can acquire or monetary things. And that's really where I wish that my value to help other people was reflected monetarily, but it's just not, because our world doesn't do exchange like that. That's not in our culture to understand how important guides and mentors are. The weird part is like, this is just a blind spot for me. And blind spots are really hard. We talk about this, so we have a very tight-knit group of friends, what I would call my family. We do this thing where we try to recognize each other's blind spots. And it's really hard. It's like, man, you have to be like this, because you're putting an enormous amount of vulnerability in somebody else's ability to criticize you. But what's really good about it is that nobody will be able to recognize your blind spots other than the people that actually care about you. Now, how you deal with it is your emotional maturity level, right? It's going to hurt everybody. Some of the ones that people have told me, I'm like, oh, ouch, okay, but now I can fix it. And so when I recognize this blind spot, and I've recognized it for a long time, but I haven't felt prepared to do it. It's like you with fit, like you knew you needed to do this for how long?
Oh,
years?
Well, a decade.
Easily, right?
Decade for sure.
So a lot of what we say is like a lot of the journey is actually just in trying to conceptualize the journey, right? It's not, that is the preparation. Like I've been preparing for years to try to like overcome this financial, it's not necessarily deficit, but it is in my ability to control it, right? My ability, I don't control how much money I get, I don't control how much money I spend, and that is flagrant. And I know I need to prepare for it, and I know it's going to take a lot of self-honesty, and I know when I get to that point where it's time to be honest about myself, I know it's going to hurt. And so that's what I've been preparing for, to be honest. Because honesty, truth is the most harmful edge. Like, it's the sharpest knife. And it can cut cleanly, and it can free you of all these burdens, but you can also hurt yourself doing it, right? If you don't have the right state. So that's kind of, I recognize it, I know what it is, and I'm preparing myself. I'm ready to do it. Like, I could show you whatever we need to go into, and I think it'll be really good. But it's, no, like visually, it's gonna hurt me. Like internally, because it's really like I haven't separated my worth from my bank account yet.
And I haven't separated my worth from the belly fat around my...
Yeah, for sure.
And the stretch
but
marks on my rump
love.
shaker, for sure. Well, I don't know, man. My whole life, I look back at I showed my nephew a picture of me when I was 14 on the beach, and I remember being so incredibly insecure. Mm-hmm. And now I look at that picture, and I'm like,
yeah,
dude, like I was a great kid, man. I've been just a little puffy, but come on, man, I'm thin, I look great, I'm young, I have my whole life ahead of me. But I spent my entire life not feeling okay. Even when I was the most incredible shape that I've ever been in, I was competitive, I still did not feel good about myself.
Here's what's funny about that.
How do I escape that?
This just happened yesterday. Erin was going through pictures, and I forgot who she was showing. Somebody was in here yesterday. I think she was showing, they were exchanging pictures of like, oh, this is what I used to look like. And oh yeah, Josh. So Josh used to be like 220 pounds. You know, he was Goldstein.
Tyler?
No,
Goldstein.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like Josh
long
Tyler?
hair.
Josh
beard.
Tyler's never been 200 pounds.
That would be amazing. He would look like Gimli off of.
He really would, dude. I love Josh. I think Josh is such a stud.
He was talking about being 220, and Aaron's like, "Oh, Michael used to be 217 when I was trying to gain a lot of mass and like weightlifting competitively." So she pulled up this picture of me, and I remember the day. Right, I remember we were on the beach in Jersey, off the coast of the UK, a Jersey island, and we went to the beach for the day. And I remember feeling so fat because I've never been that heavy in my life. And I look at that picture. This is the picture she shows almost everybody. Look how jacked Michael used to be. Because I have like veins in my abs, and I look like.
Dude, I gotta see that picture.
I look like a monster because all I do all day is lift weights. And I remember being like, oh, I'm like bloated, and she's taking this picture of me. This is so gross. And like, this is the picture, and this is where it gets worse, is because I go, oh shit, Michael used to look good.
This is exactly what happened to
But on the day when I took that picture, I was so embarrassed. And now, fast forward, I'm also embarrassed because I don't look like that anymore. I don't want to look like that anymore. I don't want to feel like that.
Yeah.
I felt terrible inside because I was just like bubbling with insecurity. I feel great now, even though I'm smaller, which is easier to take care of, honestly.
Dude,
it's more efficient.
You're jacked, bro. I would love to be looking this bad.
So this is kind of the funny thing. We always look back and go, oh, or we like right now in the moment, oh, I'm like, I don't feel right. I'm not rich enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. This is the perception that in 5 years I'm going to look back now and be like, man, I looked awesome. Like, I remember when I was 38 and I was just like, I could do anything. And I was like, but right now I'm like, God, I feel broken. I'm not lifting but much weight. Like, it's really unsatisfactory to like get under a barbell or get on a bike and do this stuff. But like that, being not complacent, but being satisfied in the moment with what you have. I think that's what I would say, like understanding your gifts, or if you were like a more spiritual person, counting your blessings, right?
Yeah.
That's
Well, you just
that's a skill.
Talk about grateful, because you said that yesterday. I've thought about it since you said that. This is an amazing concept, honestly, because I use that word a lot.
Sure, yeah.
You know, gratitude.
I didn't
grateful.
before. I hated that word.
I know you did, and this is why, because I know you hated that word, because it's used, you know, in religious circles a lot, and like.
And I think it's faked. And
I hear it a lot. I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
I get it. In my culture, it's used a lot.
It's like false humility, right? It's like
Perhaps.
when people are like,
I've never
oh,
thought
I'm so
about it that
humble,
way.
but they're on stage like throwing, you know, like it's like this.
No, I know. I had a buddy that actually said that. He was like, my life has changed, and literally I went from being the biggest, you know, egotistical prick, and now I'm so humble. And he was just telling people how humble he was. And afterwards, I was like, you know what? Humility is the single virtue that the moment you realize that you have it, you've lost it. Like when you're, you know, I'm humble. No, it's gone.
That's called humble bragging.
It is.
It's how I'm bragging about my humbleness. And this happens like I'm too blessed to be stressed. I'm just, you know, loving life and I'm gratitude to the universe. I'm on this beach in Maui with like my Ferrari in the background.
I'm making $1 million a year, not doing anything. I love it.
So that's my problem with like the word, and I've really overcome it in the past couple of years because I recognized that I wasn't it. I was not grateful, and therefore I was depressed. I had anxiety. Like I
could
had fear.
explain the word, because this is what was so killer for me yesterday or Monday.
So I had this idea, this concept where I go like, shit, how did I get here? Like I'm here, 38. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no education. No formal education, right? No real guy. I'm off the rails. I could do whatever I wanted. And then I was like, man, but it's always been like that. Like, how did I get through kindergarten? How did I get through grade school? We're just like a wild monkeys running around, freaking out, throwing stuff, jumping off of buildings, and not completely shattering our spine. How I'm not paralyzed, beyond me, right? Then we get to like middle school, and emotionally, somehow I'm a stable person today, but if I imagine what I went through in middle school, I survived an emotional holocaust of some sort. Like it was a death camp of emotions. And then high school, how 1,000 wild animals could be in one building with like less than 10 adults, and we didn't murder each other, and there was no great, I don't know, catastrophe that happened, right? Beyond me. So I'm like, we're pretty good at survival. Not like good, we are great at survival. We are so good at survival that we're still here today, even though nobody really knows. Take the most responsible person on the planet, they have no idea what the fuck is going on. They couldn't tell you. Like, what's life about? They'd be like, I don't know. So we're really actually great. And that's not to brag, it's just to recognize what we've overcome by being alive for however long that has been. If it's been 10 years, you're great. You're a decade great. I'm 2 decades great. I'm so great, I'm almost on my 4th decade of greatness. I'm so great that I'm full of greatness, which makes me grateful, because I'm full of greatness. And that idea is what made me actually understand the word and go, holy shit, I am grateful because of what I'm full of.
I love that. I shared that with my sister. And Tuesday, I was like, Michael said something today I can't get out of my mind. We survived junior high. And she was like, I mean, both of us are like, yeah. I mean, how did it even happen? We are so great. And I said, we're full of greatness. So we're grateful. We were both mind blown over that. Because I'm telling you, dude, junior high almost ruined both of us. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know, there's always this time, especially for adolescent boys, right? You're out with your friends, you guys want to get into some fucking trouble.
Yeah.
So
you
you're like,
want to kiss some girls and they're not interested in you.
Sure,
so then
yeah,
you go
so
look for
my
the
energy
trouble.
goes to
That's
like,
what I did.
what should we throw rocks at? Like what? Like,
I love rolling rocks.
What can we break? What can we do? Little boys are just like, they just want to like break stuff. And it's like, for me, it was like, can we run and jump on that train while it's moving, right? And so whatever their circumstances, every child has done this. And it ends up like it's just your friends. For some reason, your parents left you by yourself to your own volition and just trusted that the universe would take care of you. And that was their faith. And you come out of whatever situation, like jumping off of a train, tuck and rolling and walking away. And you're like, okay, let's not tell our parents about that. And you kind of high-five each other and nobody talks about it. That's how I feel at 38. I'm here today and I wake up in the morning and I'm like, high-five Aaron, and I'm like, let's go to work before somebody catches on to us. How did we get away with this?
I'm getting a headache from smiling so much. This is my life, man.
I really do feel that way. I do feel like I have a genuine gratitude for everything that we have. Friends, people that are in, like, for some reason we have this magnetic thing that happens where what we're doing is very special to us, and I think people notice, and they just notice our attitude towards life, and that's good enough to want to be around. And that's really like, I think that's our biggest asset, right? Is our attitude and our ability to appreciate what we have. That's what I've had to learn over the years, because when I didn't have that, it didn't matter how much money was in my bank account. And I've made a lot of money, and it didn't matter. Like, I wasn't grateful for it, so it literally did nothing.
Bam! That's some good shit. So good, dude. Wasn't it? You know it's good.
We can stop there for forever. We can stop there.
Okay.
Solid.
Dude, that was so solid. When I saw it, because it's the same thing, when the penny drops, you're like,
oh, shit.
dude, for real. Hey, when he said this to me, like on Monday, because I know him well enough to know that when you said that, I was like, is he really gonna? Holy crap, man, that's a huge thing, and it changes the way I feel about grateful. Right? My gratitude, full of greatness, and it's like this idea, that word namaste, which, you know, I recognize the divine in you, right? I salute the divine in you. Like, gratitude's a similar thing. I recognize the greatness in you that you've shared with me.
Yeah.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Because that's why I'm here. Because that's exactly why I'm here. I mean, everything you just said is why I'm here.
Yeah.
I feel that here. I feel the sincerity. I get filled up. Every time I leave, I'm exhausted physically and filled up every other way.
I think this is, it's like when you leave here, you feel empty, but also full.
Absolutely, man. That's why I go eat a steak.
But that's the give and take.
Carnivore Diet, by the way, amazing book, 21-Day Carnivore Diet. Aaron Blevins, Shut Up, Eat. Just do it.
We'll do something.
Hashtag Shut Up, Eat 15.
The next one is called what I call a Baphomet burpee.
Okay.
I'm covering things first. This is just, I wanted to.
Well, yeah, that's exactly where my mind went. I'm like, well, Vince isn't here for free, so we need to have.
He's not. But I think you're right. I just wanted.
Well, I think that will be as much of a service because the way that I approach those kind of situations from a financial standpoint maybe be helpful, and the way you do for people, how we negotiate. Because I see people that are working together, and the relationship breaks down because the beginning wasn't set up properly, clearly.
Well, assumptions are made, and that's not going to get you anywhere.
My first attorney said, you and I both know what we agreed to, but the reason that he said you only have contracts with people that you like and trust. And I was like, why is that? He said, because otherwise you won't like them and trust them anymore. And we have contracts so that in the future, at some time, when we both believe that we remember how it was, we can actually go back and see in black and white what really we agreed to. Because isn't that true? We all, because of life and filters and experiences, we come back to that point and go, yeah, but What are you talking about, Mike? Well, that thing blew up. That was my idea. Screw you. You owe me 10 grand. Well, yeah, but I paid for mints. And, you know what I mean? It's not worth it. It does. But if it's clear and if it's in black and white, when you get feeling like that, you go back and read it and go, oh.
We have really good business advice from our
To me, the ice cream isn't even the ice cream; it's the texture. It's the
I see this.
like the you know what I mean?
This room is
The
so
substance. There could be some bokeh. Here's bokeh, right?
Yeah, bokeh at the back.
Bokeh at the back.
Yeah.
This room kind of is messy.
Yeah, this is not a good photo room.
Pound of
Oh, Costa Rica. Nice. Get a zoom in on that thing right there.
what are you doing tomorrow?
Amen to this.
This
Crowd Cow just emailed me that they got a deal on Wagyu because they didn't sell out of it.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, and they have I can't remember what it is. It's not flank, it's something else.
Get out of here, Lame Bear.
Oh my
Is it good?
Mic drop.
How good is it?
Oh my gosh. What's that?
So this is from
Mic drop. No.
that's an edamame drop.
Yeah.
This is not on.
Is that
Guacamole, do you want it?
Yeah, I will. Give it here.
Do you want chips too?
No.
Dude, that is
Okay.
incredible. You cook this thing in that?
a fucking air fryer.
That is so delicious. Remember, I took a picture of it and I forgot about it. See, this is like practically for people that are just trying to figure out how do you, like, eating is such a big component that
When you were like on your dumbbell thing, I
You
came
put
in
this
here
in?
and I just threw it in and set it to 5 minutes
you're
aside.
joking me, dude. Oh my gosh.
This is so good.
Oh my gosh.
So we have one of Aaron's clients.
Dude, this is so.
Every time he loses a pound, he brings us a pound of this Iowan grass-fed Wagyu beef, and this is what he brings us. And so, try it, Vince.
I'm working right now.
Dude, this is seriously divine. Oh my gosh.
Isn't this so good?
Are you cool if I just bring in a steak with me for?
Yeah, that's what Sam does.
This is really what I need to be doing.
Sam does this every day. He brings in a thing of ice cream and
Of course
because he needs sugar after training, so that's his window to get his ice cream in, and he eats a steak after.
No way. That's like my best life ever.
I know, right?
A half gallon of ice cream and
Yeah.
a small steak.
Seriously.